Hello and welcome back to another episode of the Sapien Score. Today we are taking a look at the 2022 action RPG from Game Freak, Pokemon Legends Arceus. Since I'm assuming that most of you all are familiar with the Pokemon franchise, unless of course you have made living under a rock your primary domicile for the past 25 years, I'm going to jump straight on into the good and the bad. And starting with the good, finally, Pokemon Legends Arceus offers a departure from the classic Pokemon game formula that has been relatively unchanged for the entirety of the franchise's existence. 2 decades on from the first time I saw Ash Ketchum slinging Pokeballs at unsuspecting Pokemon on the Kids WB, it is finally a reality, and I can embrace my long-awaited dream and do the same, stalking Pokemon in the Hisui region and hitting them out of nowhere with an RKO. No battling necessary. The new core capture mechanic is a long-awaited and much overdue addition to the core Pokemon franchise and is by far and away the best addition to this game and should be a staple of the franchise going forward, in my opinion. And while battling and training your Pokemon is still relevant to the experience, Pokemon Legends Arceus shifts the focus towards catching them all. And while some of the capturing mechanics, in my opinion, are a bit clunky, I think this can be forgiven as this is Game Freak's first foray into a true open world game and their first departure from the mainline mechanics of the series in a dramatic way. So it's excusable in that case. However, what is absolutely inexcusable is the fact that this game released nearly 5 years after Breath of the Wild and still doesn't look half as good. And all of this is compounded by the fact that the Pokemon franchise is the highest grossing media franchise of all time. So they clearly have the money. They're just not willing to spend it. In addition to the overall disappointing graphics and open world design, the storyline was pretty mediocre as well. However, the mainline Pokemon games have never really been known or focused around their storylines, so I give a little bit of a pass here too. However, what does not get a pass is the fact that there still is no voice acting. What a simple addition that would add a dramatic improvement, but once again, Game Freak and the Pokemon Company is too cheap to even pay for that. My final major issue with this game lies in the fact that there really is not much of an endgame once you complete the main storyline. And in my opinion, this all comes down to the fact that there is no online battling. Once again, something that you thought would be extremely simple and has been part of every single Pokemon game in the past, even back in the Game Boy days when we had to connect them with a physical wire. They couldn't even add this to this 2022 release. What makes it even worse is there's online trading. So it's not like there's just no online functionality whatsoever. It is there, but it was just rushed or purposefully unincluded. On a more positive note, I think they knocked it out of the park with the new Hisuian form and Hisuian Pokemon, as a lot of these designs were really awesome, particularly Typhlosion. That's why I chose them. But overall, I think they did a great job, and I was very glad to see that a lot of those obscure Johto Pokemon got the respect that they deserved and new forms. Furthermore, I thought the agile and strong attack mechanics were the best change up to the battle system since Mega Evolutions, which for some reason they decided to absolutely ditch, and provided a new dimension to battles, and I hope it's something that they continue to expand on in the future. My final point of praise is that this game was in fact fairly difficult as far as Pokemon standards go. Although not reaching the difficulty of something like Pokemon Coliseum, I did find myself getting KO'd every once in a while, which was a welcome change up to the Pokemon games, which in my opinion have become much too easy. Hopefully this opens up the possibility in future releases for additional difficulty levels or difficulty modifiers that would better cater the game to the older fans of the series while also remaining accessible to the core target audience of younger folks. Lastly, while I enjoyed the boss battles in theory, after the second one it became really boring and repetitive, and I'd like to see them expand upon this in future releases as well, since I think the idea is good, but the execution wasn't quite there, especially with the basic attacks and clunky controls and movement. With all of that being said, I'm going to go ahead and give Pokemon Legends Arceus a Sapien score of 7.3 bananas. Overall, Pokemon Legends Arceus is most definitely a step in the right direction and a welcome change up to the formula that has largely been the same for the past 25 years. However, despite the good changes, namely the ability to finally catch Pokemon directly from an explorable open world without having to battle them, the overall quality and polish for this game is extremely disappointing and simply unacceptable, given the fact, as I mentioned before, that Pokemon is the highest grossing media franchise of all time. This is made even more ridiculous by the fact that Breath of the Wild, which came out 5 years prior as a launch title for the Switch, is better in every single department in terms of fit and finish. Anyways, that's pretty much it. Thanks for tuning on in, and I'll catch you next time. Adios, amigos.